Hey everybody, Luke here again, and just a couple days ago I had a really good question from a friend of mine, and I thought I would share it. It makes a good video and a good talking point about some of these recurrent injuries that we have as we get older. So give you a little background on my friend. He's a really good basketball player. He's probably about 6'4", 6'5", played all through high school, played some college ball, still plays recreationally. He's probably in his low 40s now, and he called me the other day and he says, Luke, I got this issue in my calf again. So I'm playing basketball, and he's not, you can imagine people like us now who are in our 30s, 40s, 50s, we're not in the best shape like we used to be. So when he plays basketball nowadays, it might just be kind of on a whim. And in this situation, a friend called and said, hey, we need one more guy for the game. Can you play? And of course, my friend can't turn down a competitive basketball game. So anyways, he says he's going up to the rim. He's on a fast break. And earlier in the day, he had kind of felt a little twinge in his calf, but no big deal. But on this fast break, he got the ball back, planted on that foot, kind of pushed off, and then he just felt something in his calf kind of rip or tear. Nothing too dramatic, but he felt it kind of go. So he says, I've been having this problem several times. Is there something I can do for these recurrent muscle issues, these strains, as you will? So he said, he knows I'm kind of a natural guy. He said, is there anything naturally I can do? Is there a pill I can take? Is there nutritional advice or anything like that to deal with this ongoing recurrent strain? So I'll tell you what I told him in just a minute, but I think this is irrelevant because for a lot of us, especially as we get older, we start having these injuries and they may not ever get to the point where you feel like they're bad enough for you to need help from someone. So like my friend's example, he pulled his calf again. Let's say he's pulled it 5-6 times in the course of his basketball career and whatever else he's doing. He stretches it, he massages it, he does some self-massage, all the kind of the free advice I would give people anyways. He ices it if he needs to, he does things like that, he takes care of it. But at the end of the day, over time, now he's in his mid-40s probably, it tends to happen again. And, logic would tell us that it's probably going to continue to happen into his 50s and 60s and 70s, hopefully if he can continue to play. So I think it's relevant again because a lot of us are going to have these things where they don't feel like they're that bad in the moment. You don't feel like you need to get treatment, but at some point you may start to realize that these injuries are now becoming either more frequent or they're more intense, or they lead to a real injury where you end up needing some treatment or you end up needing something worse like surgery. So again, it's relevant just I think to think forward, if you're younger, to think forward what these recurrent injuries mean. And if you're getting a little older like my friend is, or even older than that, now you can probably appreciate how these things can sneak up on you. So his is his calf. I get a lot of questions that are very similar to this for the hamstrings. So people will get this recurrent hamstring pull, especially if they ride a bike or they run. And again, they may be able to self-treat for years and years and years, but then it's getting worse. So let me tell you what I told my friend then. So overall, so it sounds like you're doing a lot of things right. You know how to stretch, you know how to warm up, you know how to do some self-massage. But typically what he's doing is he's having the sprain or the injury, and then he's treating with self-massage and stretches and stuff. He probably still stretches fairly regularly anyways, but probably what he needs more than anything is he needs to do the regular self-massage and really make sure that now that his tissue is healed multiple times, that if there's scar tissue built up in there, he needs to get that to lay down and needs to get it to be compliant. The other key point I think for someone like him is if you kind of know you're going to be in the situation where maybe you go into these periods, and it's the summer as I'm making the video, so most of us basketball players aren't doing a whole lot because we play in gyms at schools and the schools are closed. So if you know you're going to be in the situations where maybe you're not doing a whole lot and then you're going to be called in to play a game where you're going to be competitive and you're going to work hard, you want to do some things prophylactically there to make sure you're still in good strength. Let's see if this car can go by. Can you go by? Yeah. So anyways, you want to kind of think forward with that stuff too. Yeah. So anyways, you want to think prophylactically with these things too. And if he's going to be doing, basketball where it's going to be a little more explosive, maybe doing like some plyometrics, which I don't know if you're familiar with plyometrics, but it's stuff that is going to mimic like the explosiveness you might need for some of these sports. So those were kind of the two things I told him. If you're doing self-massage, do it more regularly. Make sure you're targeting any areas of scar tissue and really getting them to lay down and getting them worked out. And then making sure that if you're going to play these things or, ramp up your level of intensity suddenly, that you're really aware and maybe doing some training before that too. So again, I think it's relevant for a lot of us because, as I mentioned, these injuries tend to get worse over time. So what he's telling me now is a calf kind of a strain. The way your soft tissue heals is that anytime you have a tear, it is a small tear in this instance, it's going to heal with scar tissue. Over time, that scar tissue is becoming a weak point. So he's more likely to sprain that same area again, and it's more likely to get worse. So again, just really appreciating that at his age, hopefully can allow him to play basketball much later, you know, into, again, 50s, 60s, 70s. Who knows? He's a pretty good player, so we'll see how he does. So anyways, take that advice. And I guess last thing I would say, you know, kind of my own personal plug, is that it never hurts to get some advice. You know, let someone actually take a look at you. And you know, maybe one of these sprains he'll actually treat like a real injury and come in for some treatment, and we can show him some things he may not have thought of. Or we might find some underlying issues as well in terms of, why are you straining your calf so frequently? Or for someone else with a hamstring, well, why are you? Is there something you're doing wrong? Is there some kind of a weakness here or there that we can improve upon? Or maybe there's, again, like 3 or 4 exercises that you could do somewhat regularly to really prevent this from happening again. So that's my general advice for today. I hope that kind of resonates with some of you. And if you have more questions about muscle sprains, strains, self-massage, stretches, stuff like that, just, you know, shoot me a question. I'll leave my contact information below the video. So again, thanks for watching. Have a good day.